We got some nice smooth tunes going. I like that. Thank you, sir. I always got to start off with, little shake. Hello, everybody. Welcome to tonight's edition of Real Talk Chronicles. All right, you can keep that going. I like that. I said we got our own in-house DJ here. The one and only DJ B Fly, Bill Foster himself. Yay! My jam, I like this. Thank you. Thank you. Thank God we're in 2021.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Woo, woo. Yes, Lord.
Whew, thank God we were all here to see the brand new year.
Yeah.
That's number one.
Yes.
Yes. So welcome, everyone. This is my very first show for the new year. I'm so excited. I have a lot of beautiful friends / family here with me today. And usually I do a segment on business. I'm usually talking about small businesses and helping to get the word out about that. But something's been on my mind real heavy with all of us, and it's about the COVID-19 vaccine. So in lieu of talking about businesses tonight, I gathered a few friends just to chat about their experiences. So everyone that you're looking at here with me today are healthcare professionals, and they all have received the vaccine. So, I've been sitting back on my couch or sitting at my desk like, oh, okay, he got it, she got it. Danielle put up an excellent post like the night after she got it, like right after her shift, which I thought was very touching. So I just want to help spread the word. And like I said earlier, get the facts out because, I know Bill and I have been getting it, we'll be the last to get it. We don't want that. But the thing is, we all have our fears for different reasons. But the whole point is to educate each other. And the way we do that is to share our own experiences. So that's what we're going to do. Danielle, I just need to see you move. I don't know if we have a bad connection or that's her good side, right? Hopefully you can hear me, Danny. Hopefully you can hear me. So that's what the show is about tonight. I've gathered a group of healthcare professionals, and they are going to tell you about their experience, how life has been this year, and specifically their experience with getting the vaccine. I went on the CDC's website and tried to educate myself a little bit more than what I've been learning about in the news. It's kind of confusing. There's so many different things going on. There's a lot of rumors I know that's been floating around. And I kind of want to try to clear that up for our listening audience. I want to tell each of you, I see the numbers coming up. So thank you so much for joining us. Please share it. I'm going to do that myself. We are streaming live on YouTube and also streaming live on Facebook. So if you are Facebook friends with Bill Foster, you can simply just go to his page, which is what I'm doing right now, and I'm going to share it onto my Facebook page. So I guess if you will just take a second to do that, that way we can just get the word out and as many people as we can get to see the show and learn more about what we're talking about today. All righty, so I just shared. I want to let each of you know that are watching, the only way I'm able to view your comments and questions for our guests is either on YouTube or on Bill Foster's page. So if you're on my Facebook page or Nabaala's or Deirdre's and you're putting a comment in, you guys can see it. So feel free to jump in and let me know, what your friends are saying and if they have any questions as well. All right. So I guess Danielle will join us. What I would like to do is go around and just have everyone introduce themselves. I'm also going to tell, everybody it's like 6 degrees of separation, but I have a story of each for each. But I'm going to let you all go ahead and introduce yourselves. Nabaala.
Hi, good evening,
You want
everyone.
to go first? So if you can tell everyone who you are, where you work, if you don't mind, what you do, when you got the vaccine, anything you want to share with us, if you could take a few minutes. And also,
Hi,
how long have you
everyone.
been in the field? A little angel just said, also, how long have you been in the field? Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Malika, thank you so much for hosting this. I think it is so, so important. I think some people are braver than others. I am not as brave. I got the vaccine. And not that I was hesitant or anything about it, but I think after receiving it, I was afraid of, the possible lashback. Like, you got that? So I kind of stayed in the shadow and kind of just allow everyone to say what they wanted to say while thing. But I think it's really important for you to have this so that we are able to speak out and better educate the public, right, or everyone. So I'm Nabaala. I've been a nurse for 18 years. I've done critical care, long-term care. Right now, I'm in outpatient OBGYN. A really nice population. I think I enjoy it a lot. I never imagined doing OBGYN because it's OBGYN. But
That's
but
very important. Yeah.
yes, but working with women and really getting to know your own body and helping women. I think I enjoy it more than anything else. I currently work at Jefferson. I've been there for about 2.5 years, and I enjoy it. So I got the vaccine 3 weeks ago. I actually got my second dose today.
Oh,
So I'm
cool.
complete in the set. And it just so happened that they started with inpatient, ICU, and then like the physicians, anesthesiologists, those areas. And one evening, I'm not quite sure what happened, but in the early phase of giving out the vaccine, they had apparently, when they thaw it, you only have like a certain period to thaw. And I was at work late that day. It just so happened. And we received a message. You can do walk-in for the vaccines. You can come and get it now, if you like. And so I said, you know what? I'm going right now. And initially, before the vaccine started, I was a bit hesitant.
I want to applaud you because I
Yeah.
want to. I
Oh,
want to
sorry.
save that juicy part for
Awesome.
part two. But talk about timing because there's someone else on the panel who received their second dose today as well. So you'll
Yeah.
find out as we go around.
Awesome.
Thank you, Nabaala. Hold that thought because I
no.
want to get into that.
Thank you.
Deirdre, up next. Oh, wait, and before you start, Deirdre, I'm sorry. I want to let everyone know how, like I said, it's 6 degrees of separation and how we each know each other. So Nabaala and I are actually neighbors. So right now we're probably about, 10, 15 feet apart from each other. Just in the next house over. So she is my brand new sister friend and neighbor/neighbor. So thank you, Nabaala.
No, thank you.
All right, Deirdre.
I'm Deirdre Johnson. I have been a patient registrar for now going on about 3 or 4 years. I recently, 3 years ago, moved to Virginia, and I've never, until this point, really had to deal face to face with urgent care, things that come in. And this pandemic has done something to me, just thinking about being able to watch people come in and have their state of mind not be quite right due to this pandemic. My husband has a health issue, and with all the talk of how vaccines have affected people in the past and the different experiments that have been thrust upon us made me not want to take the vaccine. But it was one of those things where they had an open walk-in spot. And I said, you know what? I can take it and try it, or not take it and die, possibly. And I chose to try it. You know, it wasn't the easiest thing. I didn't even tell my husband until I got home, because we had decided we weren't going to, be guinea pigs. But, I just stepped out on faith and I said, I'm going to follow the science. I'm going to truly believe that this will work. So I did it, and I go Thursday for my second shot.
Wow. So Deirdre, gosh, I didn't realize it's been 3 years since you moved to Virginia.
3 years.
We used to work together at Chase, right?
Yeah. JP Morgan Chase.
Yes, up in New York.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody knows I'm a Philly girl, but I escaped to New York and came back with a husband and a dog. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
I hear you.
But while I was in New York, I met and made some really good friends. And Deirdre is one of my co-workers / sister friends. And I'm so happy to see that you made the move down to Virginia, your husband. So congratulations on that.
Thank you.
Yes, and welcome. So we'll get back to your story. So that's interesting. So you go Thursday for your cool.
Yeah. And I'll document it on Facebook because I want people to actually know what I'm feeling.
Yes, I think you said you want people to actually know what you're feeling. And it went out, in and out just a little bit, but I was able to catch what you said.
Okay.
Say that again.
No, I said okay.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not sure if it's the cord or something. So thank you, Deirdre. And then we're going to come on around to Miss Saeeda. You can just introduce yourself and tell a little bit about yourself.
Sure. So my name is Saeeda. I am a pharmacist.
I can't hear you, Saeeda.
Can you hear me?
My volume's up.
Not sure how to make you hear me.
Can you guys hear Saeeda okay, or is it low?
Yeah.
You can hear her fine?
Mm-hmm.
So maybe it's me. Bill, do we have the earpieces up here? Bill? The earpiece. Talk again, Saeeda. It could be my computer.
Okay. So I'm Saeeda. I'm a pharmacist. I have been in the field of pharmacy for about 30 years. And I was one of the people that was kind of on the fence about getting the COVID vaccine. I knew that I was going to get it. It was never a question of if I was going to get it. It was a question of when I was going to get it. But after reading the data on the trials and the efficacy, I decided that it was more important for me to get it to protect my family, because I'm the one that's going out the house and traveling across states and hospital systems on a daily basis. And I have elderly parents and young children. And I decided it was more important to protect them by getting the vaccine than to not get it and to sit out and wait a while. I also have read and seen lots of comments from Facebook University and Google of people that have these fears about getting the vaccine. And the fears are valid. I understand it. We all know, or most of us know, what our history is, being Black Americans, dealing with the American government and them taking care of us. So when I was reading some of the comments that people were making about their fears and why they weren't going to get it, I decided that I would get it and share my experience with people to let them know that, it's not a poison. Be an example to the rest of the people in the community so they could see how we responded, what it was actually like, and to actually talk about fact-based data instead of talking about fears. People often bring up Tuskegee experiment and, I'm not going to get it after what they did to them. And they talk about the gynecologists that did a lot of experiments on Black women throughout the years. And I'll try to point out to people that with the Tuskegee experiment, those men were already diseased. They had the disease and they weren't being treated. With the COVID vaccine and us getting it now, we are treating and preventing the disease. So there's a big difference between those two things. And I think that people need to take that into consideration as they weigh out their options on whether they're going to get the vaccine or not. So, I mean, there's lots of other things, but I will pass the ball so that Malika can introduce the rest of her guests. And I'm sure she has a litany of questions.
Thank you. And thank you for continuing to talk also until I untangled the cord. I feel like it's a comedy show over here right now. But I did hear the majority of what you said, and you're absolutely right. It's about, also just calming people's fears. And the way to do that is to educate them. And how we educate is to share our own personal stories. So, and Saeeda, the funny thing about us, we went to the same high school, Philadelphia High School for Girls, Girls High. And you and I lived about probably 10 minutes from each other.
Yeah.
But we met all the way down in Florida.
Yes.
We were at a mutual friend's birthday celebration in Florida. Got to talking. It was like, oh yeah, Philly. Oh yeah, Girls High. Oh yeah, Overbrook. Like we're neighbors. So we go back. We go way back. I don't know, almost 20 years now, I guess.
Yeah, probably more than that, but at least 20.
Exactly. So thank you. It's nice to see you here as a guest.
Thanks for the invite.
Oh yes, definitely. All right. We got one male holding it down for all the rest. Frank, you're up next. Okay, you are not coming through. Can anyone hear Frank, or is it just me?
No.
We can't hear you, Frank. Nope. You probably need to put while you do that, we're going to skip on over to Danny. Yeah, check your phone and make sure your actual phone's
Yeah. I was muted. You want me to just go ahead?
Yeah, if you can go, Danny, that would be good.
Okay. So, hi, my name is Danielle Moore, affectionately known as Danny, obviously. And I am a toddler RN. I actually just became an RN in 2018 after changing careers. Thank you. And I kind of went back and forth a little bit about whether or not to get the vaccine. I was always pretty much for it, but like Saeeda mentioned, we as Black folks tend to have our reservations when it comes to, certain things, especially with it being new and coming out so quickly. But I have a lot of feelings about that. And like Malika said, I did a live just to express to what I thought was just going to be a couple of friends of mine why I was getting the vaccine. And it turns out a lot of people ended up watching it, and hopefully I was able to give some people some insight into, just why I wanted to get it. I'm guessing we'll go through, a lot of those reasons why we're here, but basically it boiled down to me that the benefit outweighed the risk. A lot of people are concerned about long-term effects that are going to happen from the vaccine. And does that concern me? A little bit, but history has shown that most side effects from vaccines are short-term. I did experience a few. I talked about that too. And the reality is people are dying from COVID in weeks. So yeah, if I have to do the trade-off from short-term to long-term, I don't want to get it. So, and I work, with the COVID patients in the hospital in Philadelphia. So, I'm on board, and I'm hoping that, between us and other people sharing the word and getting the word out, that other people will be on board too, because vaccines don't work if only a couple of people get them.
Mm-hmm. So true. So true. And Danny, you and I are graduates of Girls High.
Girls High, hey.
Yes. Look, we always know our number, right? 232.
231.
Which one are you, Saeeda?
233.
233. Wow, so we're right in a row. Look at that. Frank, you're from Philly. It's a Girls High thing. We holding it down for our Girls High girls.
Yes.
Absolutely. And Danny, I'll probably say this again later, but when I saw yours, I was like, I think that was kind of like the tipping point too, because I watched both of your videos that you posted, but the first one, I'll talk about that in a minute. We're going to talk about that video in a minute. And that's what I said. Yeah, we got to spread the word about this. So thank you for being here. I appreciate you.
You're
Frank,
welcome. Thanks for having me.
what's up, Frank? We can't hear you. What, you on a Barney's basement phone? What's up with that? You know I gotta pick with you.
Did you turn down your volume when she
Yeah,
talked about turning down the volume?
Turn your volume up. Turn the volume up. Turn the volume up. All the way up, up, up. All right. You
We
want to
should be
maybe
able to go to settings and test his audio.
Yeah. Keep on testing it. Maybe unplug it or something, because you are not muted on this end. And we need to hear from you. Frank is out there in Houston, Texas. I must be coming in loud and clear through his ears. All right, cool. So hopefully he can get that started. While he's getting that set up, I just want to thank everybody. When I tell you the lines are on fire, both on Facebook and YouTube, I have to give a couple shout outs to everybody who's watching us. Stephanie Taylor, we see you. Carla Greer up in New York is here. We got Mike Smith. We got Brother Harold. Tuscadero is here. Sonia Joy is joining us from Jamaica. Liz, nice to see you. Daryl Lynn, I hope you were able to get on. Yeah, go to the Facebook page and you'll see it on there. Cleo Small, hello, my brother. We got people from all over. Mr. Colin Clark, it's always good to see you. Hello, Sister June. Another Girls High grad, Carla 232. Carla Anderson is in the house. And Derek Horn, who's a nurse up in New York, is also joining us. Derek, if you want to help Frank out and hold it down for the guys, help him hold it down, let us know. We can send you the link to pop in as well. All right, cool. So we also have some people over here on YouTube. I'm not sure if their first name, 1968 Truck Turner. We see you out there. That person said, I just don't trust the government as a Black man. There's too much history and experimentation on Black bodies. This is the first RNA vaccine, says Sharon McCleary. And yeah, we're waiting for Frank to get it together. And Sonia White is joining us as well. Hello, Sister Sonia. So like I said, I truly appreciate all of our guests. We're going to go ahead and move in. I'll be able to see Frank when he attempts to join us. And like I said, Derek Horn, if you want to pop in and share your experience as well. I know you're on the front line, so just let us know and we'll send you the link. All righty. I'm ready to be educated. I'm sitting back with my arms crossed. I'm all ears. But the first thing I want to know, ladies, is, how has it been for you? Last year was a year from hell for all of us. And I'm speaking from someone who's just sitting, like I said, here at her desk. I can only imagine what it was like in the hospital. So I just want to hear your experience, as a frontline worker. How's it been? How have you been? Nabaala?
It was a tough year. 2020 was very, very tough. And so many, especially even now, so many unanswered questions, as to, how we're going to go about this. And so many questions still about the vaccine. But my mom had gotten COVID back in March, late March. And she was really sick. And I think, it affected all of us greatly to see that it never affects you until it really gets close to home, like someone who has it. And as I said, it was in the earlies. And for her, it was tough because she herself lost a couple co-workers. And not only did she lose a couple of co-workers, but within a couple of months where she worked, about 40 residents died. So, when you talk about COVID, and you think how close it is to home and how it is affecting, our community, particularly, I mean, that fear, initially, it's just so much. And I have young kids, school age kids. So that in itself is tough, because the questions are asked now, what are we going to do? What are we going to do with the kids? I can't stay with them.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah. Exactly. You have beautiful children. I don't know if anybody wants to stay home all day with their kids. How good they are.
And hats off to people
Like
who
that.
do, because I can't. I can tell you that right now. But so, when you think of the community as a whole, it has, I mean, truly affected me. And just even thinking like, okay, how are they going to be educated? Because right now we still kind of look at it as almost a year of lost education for our kids. That first from March to May was just, gone in the wind. Teachers were trying as hard as they can. And we, as parents, we weren't teaching them. We were just, trying to get those assignments done, just get it done, get it out. But, we're not doing that daily repetition and making sure that we review it and understand, and they understand it. So I think that was really, really difficult for us personally. And
your mom, Nabaala.
Yeah,
I remember you mentioning to me that your mom, thank God, survived COVID. But I mean, I can just, everyone knows how close I am to my mom. And I think that's one of my other jobs. Like I always say about 3 jobs, but that's number 1 is to make sure she's safe and healthy every day, even outside of the pandemic, but especially now. Talk to me about that just a little bit. Like, was she in the hospital or?
So she was not in the hospital, fortunately, thankfully. But I think in part she was not in the hospital because she did not want to go to the hospital. She felt like, hey, going to the hospital, like people were dying even more. And so, but she had gotten to the point where she herself had called 911. She had a couple nights where she felt like, listen, I'm dying, this is it. And she started making plans like just insurance plans, house plans. My brother and I, we would go there and she would ask, well, what are you guys going to do with this? What are you guys going to do with that? And we're like, come on, you're not going to die. But when you look at her, you saw that hopelessness in her. I mean, she was just, short of breath, and she couldn't eat. She couldn't eat for at least a week. She wasn't eating. And then when you think of comorbidities and, and stuff like that, it's really worrisome. So she had called 911. They came, and I think her SATs it was between 89 and like 91%. And usually in the hospital, I mean, when we think about that as healthcare providers, right? You see a SAT of 89%, you'll think, well, okay, yeah, we need to put them on O2, even though it's minimal, but definitely they're less than 90. And but just because she was right on that cusp there, she said no, she didn't want to go. And then one of the paramedics said, if you just, do these exercises and try, we'll see you probably. He actually said that, I guess at that time, you probably might be better off here, because in the hospital, at that time, they didn't know, as I said, it was the end of March for her. So, it was really tough. Even today, like in talking to her, and I said, hey, I want to go down the street, or I want to do you want to go? It's like COVID. No. Still to this day, that fear.
Of course. That's quite understandable. I'm so thankful that I haven't even met your mom yet, but you feel like everybody's mom, but I never want to hear of someone going through that. So thank God she survived.
Yeah.
Saeeda, Miss Pharmacist, holding it down for the pharmacy crew. How about you? How's the family been, and
The family is crazy. I have two teenagers at home.
Teenagers, that's a new term.
Yeah, so 10 and a 12-year-old. So sometimes it's like cell block H here. I'm at work, working and looking in remotely at the security cameras, making sure they're not tearing the house down, and relying on my parents to come over during the day to make sure that they're okay after a few hours alone. Right. And of course, school for kids they're challenging. You know, some people do well in a virtual environment, and some people need to be in a real environment with real people, redirecting them and, you know, harnessing their energy to do their work. Right. So school's challenging with school age children. Work, sometimes work for me is a respite, because you go, you're busy, you're doing things, and you're not just stuck in the four walls of your home. Mm-hmm. So that hasn't been so bad, except for being jealous that everybody else gets to stay at home and work from home. And I have to travel across several states to get to work. As far as the morale of people in the hospital that I work with, I think that it's been fairly good. As time has gone on, I've seen increasing numbers of my colleagues come down with COVID, which was another thing that pushed me to go ahead and get the vaccine now, because every week I was going to work, we were looking at the numbers of our associates in our Florida hospital as well as in our Delaware hospital. And every week those numbers were creeping up. And no matter how careful I am, if the other people around me aren't as careful with washing their hands and wearing their mask, I'm going to get it eventually. So that was a bigger fear for me than to not get the vaccine. Somebody made
oh, go ahead. I'm sorry, Saeeda.
Well, somebody made a comment about the vaccine that came out so quickly and they didn't trust it. People don't understand that the technology that was used to create this vaccine is not that new. It's been around for 20 years. This has just been so many millions of dollars that have been pumped into it to get it out quickly. They've been studying it. COVID is not a new virus. COVID has been around for many years. So I think that people get a mix of knowledge and a mix of Dr. Google in there, and they don't quite, everything doesn't translate exactly because it's not a new thing.
Right, exactly. But something you make me think about is just like your work environment. When you said if the person next to you isn't washing their hands and being mindful, then you have the potential to get it. And you know, everyone knows I was laid off, about a year ago now. And the desk that it was literally a desk. So in this work environment, it wasn't separate cubes. We sat at a long desk. So I had someone probably linked to my left and arms linked to my right. So that person sneezes, it's coming right here. They cough, it's coming right here. No, I wasn't comfortable. I just didn't feel comfortable at all. And that was at the beginning, of this pandemic getting started. So, hey, Malika, you're one of 1,500 get laid off? Sure. Bye, y'all. I'm out here. Mm-hmm. I was ready to go because it just didn't feel good anymore. What is it like in your work environment? I have that question for each of you. How is it? What is your physical work environment like? So, Saeeda, I'll start with you, Danny, Nabaala, and Deirdre.
So I work in a sterile and non-sterile environment. So for those of us that are working in a non-sterile environment where we're not making IVs actively, we are trying to maintain 6 feet worth of distance. There are people that share offices. Like I shared an office with somebody. If your office didn't have enough space for you to maintain 6 feet in between you, they were making people alternate days or alternate weeks that they were coming in to enforce and maintain that 6 feet of social distance. In the ambulatory areas where patients would come for their visits, the chairs are actually strapped off so that people can only sit 6 feet across from each other. And there are placards in the floor reminding people to maintain 6 feet of physical distance. When you're going into the hospital, every morning we get scanned when we come into the hospital. If you don't get scanned, you can be terminated from your job for bypassing that, because not only do you risk exposing your colleagues, you risk exposing your most vulnerable people, which are your patients who are often in the hospital with a immunocompromised condition. So we have to be protective of our patients and our other colleagues.
Exactly.
So, it's taken a while for some people to get on board. And, I still have colleagues that still don't quite believe in it, and they don't think it's as serious as it is until they get sick. And then when they get sick, it's like, oh, all of a sudden there's an epiphany. So,
Mm-hmm.
It's taking some time for some people to still come along, but
Mm-hmm.
sometimes experience is the best teacher. Unfortunately, you don't want it to be resulting in the death of yourself or a loved one.
Right.
That this is real.
Exactly. So, and the last question, Saeeda, and then the same question is going to apply to everyone. I'm just curious about what your physical work environment is like. But Saeeda, in terms of your PPE, so what is it? Just a mask and shield? What are you wearing?
So when I am in the hospital and I'm not in the patient care area, we have a level 1 mask, or I can wear a cloth mask. If I'm going into an area where patients are, where I'm going to have direct contact with them, then we have a higher level mask that we're required to wear. If we are not standing behind a plexiglass shield, like across a table or something like that, we have to have the headgear with the mask that comes down in addition to the face mask that we're wearing. And then if you were having more direct patient contact with patients, then you would wear your PPE, which is to protect you regardless of what disease is going on. It's the same personal protective equipment of gloves and gown, depending on the level of care that you're providing to the patient.
And just so everyone understands, like when you say a level 1, what is that? Because we all have heard the term N95. Is that the N95 mask or no?
No. So it depends on where you are. So if
Okay.
I'm out in the street and you and I are conversing, I can go and buy a mask from Walmart or, Sam's Club or whatever. And that's just it's just protecting the other person that you're talking to.
Right.
If I'm dealing with a patient, it is a higher grade mask. A level 1 mask for us isn't necessarily an N95 mask, but you go from your basic mask to a surgical mask. And those providers that are working with patients and like doing intubations or things that are that close in nature, they are wearing N95s or they're wearing PAPRs to protect them from inhaling the air around them that other patients are expelling, as well as protecting the patients from themselves.
Got it. Thank you. All right, Danny. I already saw what you wear, but you got to tell it to.
I'm sorry, can you hear me?
Oh, yeah. We can hear you.
Yeah.
I don't know if you told me not, and that was for you, Frank. Yes. Welcome, Frank. We'll get to you in a minute. So we're talking about what your work environment is like and what do you wear to protect yourself. Danny.
Okay. So I'm going to just respond like really quickly to the first question, like how it's been for me, and then I'll talk about what I'm wearing. So, and I'll try and be brief in terms of how it is for me. It's as everyone has said, it's been really tough. I work in a med-surg unit in the hospital, and I've been working on the COVID unit as well. This just hit us like gangbusters, right? Like nobody was ready. Nobody anticipated just how horrible it was going to be. Like everybody knows somebody who has died. I lost my father-in-law, a neighbor of mine who, I grew up close to his family. And we all know, right? Everybody's been hit hard. People have experienced so much loss. As far as, families, it's hard not seeing each other's families. And, I'm a social person. Not being able to socialize has been a challenge, of course. And then seeing everybody else. I think what really did it for me one day was maybe around June, around graduation time, between May and June. You're scrolling through Facebook and I'm commenting to people and, the graduations. And every time I started hitting CON, I write condolences a lot when people lose somebody. Yeah. And it was like every other time, it was like condolences, congratulations, condolences. And I was just like, wow, like people are dying. It's crazy. But anyway, outside of that part of it, inside the hospital, the stress inside the hospital has been crazy. And, I can like segue into, personal protective equipment. For the longest time, we did not have like the proper PPE. It's like it became unavailable all of a sudden. And, the demand got so high and people were scared. And, some people were like hoard. And so it just, and the attitudes in the hospital really have not improved very much because people are under a lot of stress. So talking about personal protective equipment, on my regular med surg floor where I work, we typically wear the surgical mask, like the other nurse said, I'm sorry, Nabaala, she mentioned, I think, just wearing like a cloth mask. Or was that Saeeda? I don't know, I'm sorry. But you can wear like the cloth mask or the surgical mask when you're dealing with like regular patients. And then typically of like an airborne disease like TB, then we would wear the N95, which stops particles from coming through the mask.
Okay.
So on the regular floor that's not COVID specific, we wear the surgical mask. On the COVID floor though, we usually wear the N95, which we cover by the surgical mask now because you have to reuse your N95. Previously, you really wouldn't reuse your N95, but now we put the surgical mask on top of that to sort of help protect the N95 so we can wear it again. We wear goggles. I wear readers because, I'm warming up a certain age now. So I got to wear my readers if I want to see. And then I put my goggles over my readers. And right now they're requiring us, when we're working in the COVID floors, to wear the goggles. And then we also have to wear the shield. So that's to keep the droplets from, getting into our faces, our eyes, ears, nose. At least it should help reduce that. So, and then we wear gowns in addition to that. And it's almost exhausting. And I mean, quite honestly, I'm very worried about the long-term effects of breathing in the particles from the N95. Like my throat is always sore and scratchy, and I have allergies anyway. But I don't want to get off topic because my mind tends to wander sometimes. So I'm gonna leave it there. That's what we wear.
Danny, as I'm listening to you, and first I just want to say, everybody who is watching, thank you. The number through the roof. This is a hot topic. I see you out there. All your questions. After Frank introduces himself and answers the question, I'm going to start going down the list with your questions. So don't think I'm ignoring you. I'm not. I just want to get Frank in there, and then I'm going to go through the questions that we have on YouTube and also the questions that we have on Facebook. So whenever you see me looking down, I'm either taking notes, reading the questions here, or I'm reading the questions there. So we got a lot going on, but we will get to each of them. I promise you. I just want to say, Danny, when I watched your video and when I saw you taking off this, taking off that, taking off the, I was like, whoa, how on earth? And I know, we do what we have to do because that's what we have to do, right? Period.
Right.
But I mean, my heart went out to you when you finally got everything off, and I can tell you were tired, from it was dark and out, and I could see like the indentations on your cheeks, from having the mask on all day, and I'm like, oh, my sister, this what she got to go through every single day.
And a lot of us have sores on our noses from the metal piece that that the mask rests on. It's not it's not odd to see us with band-aids on our nose because the metal is right there. Yeah, it's a lot. I definitely look forward to the day when we don't have to do all that anymore.
Absolutely. I feel like when we're between New York and PA, but in New York, every day at 7:00, people will go to the window with their pots and pans and just yell and clap, and just for the healthcare workers. That just seems like just such a minute thing for everything that you all have had to go through. So I want to say thank you. I'm gonna pause for half a second and say thank you again to each of you.
That's appreciated.
Superheroes, honestly. So Frank, we are dying to hear your voice.
Can you hear me, first of all?
Oh, hand clap.
Can you hear me?
Woo!
Here we go again.
Yes.
Can you hear
me? Yes.
Thank you for the nod, because this connection is horrible. Apple and their updates, I can't stand you. So my name is Franklin Hurd. I'm a care nurse for 20 years and a respiratory therapist for 10 years. So I work in multiple units: cardiovascular, ICU, open heart surgery, CCU, shock trauma. Been around the game for a little bit. My attitude when this vaccine was talking about being developed was, I'm Will Smith, I'm legend. I'm going to buy me a German Shepherd, and I was laughing at people. That was how I took the initiative. Remember something my grandma used to tell me, and that was 2 Timothy. God doesn't give you the one of spirit, fear, one of power, love, and a sound mind. So I started doing my own investigative work, and I realized the global effort that was put into this vaccine, how existing vaccines designs and methodology were repurposed, and that laid the groundwork for something multi-years to be done in this short time frame. Because the SARS genome sequence was already made available by China, right? So I started doing more and more research. As I did more and more research, I was like, wow, okay. Then, of course, came from work. I work in a cardiac cath lab. That means, for some of us who don't know, if you come for heart attack in the middle of the night, we're the ones they call in to open you up. If you're a COVID patient who's no longer doing well on conventional ventilator, quote unquote, modalities or therapies, and we had to put an ECMO cannula in you and take your blood outside your body and oxygenate it for you. Like, we're exposed to that. Likewise, prior to, I guess, a couple months ago, we would have STEMI calls. We come in, we can't do a rapid COVID test on you. So we're coming in, risking ourselves, risking our families, putting N95s on, gear on, our lead on to stop from radiation exposure and blah, blah, blah. Right. So for me, it was the lesser of two evils. It was, what am I going to do? What's my purpose? What's going on here? And I started talking to more people, and I realized this vaccine, although we don't know long-term complications, but looking at COVID complications, and now you know the long-term, looking at the blood clots people get, looking at the myocarditis studies are showing now, no heart failure, it's real. It's just solely real. So I just didn't wait to maybe another vaccine comes out, so I'm more sure. But in the meantime, what I'm going to do to protect myself and be around my 10-year-old, what can I do to really, really help myself out in this? So it was a no-brainer at some point. I'm taking it. And I saw the other day, I got it.
Yeah.
So I didn't hear your other question you posed, but I think I do my work environment in general. And that is, most of our patients now, before we do a procedure, they have a COVID test. There's emergency cases, of course, that we have to take care of, and they don't have one, and we take the proper PPE. My facility here in Houston has never had issue with PPE, thank you, Lord Jesus. But I've seen places where they had to refurbish N95s. And when I was growing up as an RT, we could never take N95 and use it in rooms because the integrity, they said, from 8 to 12 hours would be compromised. So, I mean, things change. Again, me taking the vaccine, knowing the transient side effects initially, and that is the pain at the site, fatigue, the headache, muscle and joint pain. When I first the first dose, I had a headache. That night I changed my undershirt twice. I was wet. But they say, again, if your immune system is a certain way to kick in, you're going to get some of these side effects. Other people don't. Doesn't mean the efficacy changes. It just means that's your immune system. So I'm seeing the second dose, though, nothing. Nada. Great.
Yeah, that's one thing that I think was common in each of your posts was soreness in the arm. I think Danny or one of you have mentioned that that's a common thing, is to get for your arm to be sore in the area where you received the vaccine. A couple of you also, I'm just thinking of immediate side effects after you receive the vaccine. I also remember seeing headache. So yes.
Headache, muscle, joint pain, fatigue, fever. Those are all transient side effects.
I want to go through. So did you receive? So it seemed like everybody said headache. Everybody said soreness in the arm. Show of hands, fatigue after the vaccine. So that's 3 people. Not you, Danny, and not you, Saeeda. And then what was the other one? You said joint pain.
Sure. You get joint muscle pain, yes.
Yeah.
So Nabaala, Deirdre, Frank.
I just had a sore arm.
just a sore arm and that was it?
Well, I'll say this. I had a sore arm the day after. Like, it felt like somebody stuck or punched you in your arm the next day, but it's not uncommon after getting an intramuscular shot. The one thing that I experienced when I got it was that, and it could have been just the power of suggestion, because the nurse kept asking me, "Oh, are you okay? You feeling any numbness?" And I was like, "No, I'm feeling okay, but I'll, sit here and wait it out." And then after she said that, I was like, "Well, my arm does kind of feel kind of funny." But again, I don't know that it was the power of suggestion, because I was fine. I sat there for 15 or 20 minutes and it was no issue. My biggest issue was the sore arm. So it was sore for a day or so, but that's not unusual.
Okay. And did I miss anything in Deirdre? I know I was a little concerned about you. I'm always concerned about everybody, but it was something about your post.
I had a terrible headache and fatigue like I've never had before, but it only lasted 36 hours. And then it was as if nothing happened.
Good. Because I went back to your page. I'm like, I need to see an update from her and see if she's all right. So, yes, I've been stalking everybody just to make sure after you get it, you're good again. And, when they first started talking about the vaccine, I initially wasn't aware that it, came in two parts. I thought, oh, okay, you just get one shot. But no, we're all hearing that it's two. So I want to get to some of the questions, and I'm not going to have each of you answer the question. I'll just call one out. If you want to pass, you can just pass it to somebody else. It's totally fine. But we need to get rolling through some of these questions. So Miss Eunice Collins, and I have this guy looks familiar. Look what we have.
I'm here to help out. I can do anything I can.
I told him, I said, you're more than welcome, because he's handing me notes. Ask them this, ask them. I'm like, you can ask them yourself, Bill. Come on in. It's okay. So I want to get to Eunice's question, just to start off with some of them. So Miss Eunice Collins said, I've been told that people who have blood type O are least likely to be infected with COVID. Has anyone heard this? Deirdre, have you heard that?
And I want to start off by saying I am clerical, not clinical.
I'm sorry. Yes, I'm picturing you working with the patients, but you're behind the desk.
Yeah.
I'm going to go to the other D, Danny.
Okay. As far I have not heard that. I can't say whether it's true or not, but I have not heard that at all.
Okay. All right. Got it. Thank you. This next one is for Saeeda. Do you have any sample masks that you can show of the various masks, or are they all at work? That comes from Sister June.
Well, the only masks I have at home are the cloth masks that, everybody was purchasing, or just the paper mask. The other masks, unfortunately, are at the job.
Got it. And I just saw your reply there. Thank you.
I'll go grab that stuff. I'll be right back.
Thank you, Danny. Yep. Lisa Lynn, she said, our heroes and sheroes, we thank you so very much and appreciate your service during this time. You matter and are appreciated. Please be safe. Thank you, Lisa Lynn. So Cleo, hopefully I got you, because I saw you ask that question a couple times about the side effects. So we got that in there. So here's a question from Lenora. Lenora said, there have been reports of passing out after the vaccine. Is this correct?
So it's just important to know that 10% of people are always going to have an effect from anything that you give them, even a placebo, which is nothing. It could be just water or saline. It's not to say that people that are having side effects are invalid. There have been people that in our hospital that have had heart palpitations, have passed out. They've called code blues on a couple of people. So nobody's died in our institution that's received the vaccine. We've had people that have had other underlying conditions or have had allergies to certain foods that have had a response. So, it's variable. There's nothing that's guaranteed that's 100% safe or 100% bad.
Thank you. All right. So the next person to ask a question will be, I'm sorry, Nabaala, you want to add to that?
And, a lot of some people, I think, just as Saeeda, just kind of piggybacking on Saeeda, that 10%, some people just tend to have like that fear of needles and, do pass out. And so it's not that necessarily it's a side effect of the vaccine in itself, but sometimes it's just their fear
Your
of
anxiety.
anxiety.
That's true. Very true. Okay. Bill, you have a question?
Yeah. Yes. Hello, everybody. Again, I was hearing.
Can you guys hear Bill okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. First and foremost, thank you all for being part of Real Talk Chronicles. It's a beautiful thing. Everybody out there, everybody that's watching from YouTube to Facebook, share it, like it, subscribe to it, please. We appreciate all the love that you're giving us today. And on the 18th, I think we'll be doing a show with Dr. Marilyn Corder too to follow up, and we ask some of you maybe to come back, even if you get a chance with that. But my question is, and I think Danny, you had mentioned it. We talked about O negative. I'm O negative, right? Or O blood negative. O blood. I'm O negative, and I also have a maybe pre-existing condition or some underlying condition. Do they offset? Does anybody know if they offset with each other? It's like, it's, if you have O negative, you're good, but then now you have a pre-existing condition back to zero. So if anybody has any insight into that, please elaborate.
I think that the data that you're hearing, the stories that you hear right now, is still too early to tell. I haven't seen any studies that had definitive information that said that this is true. I think that you're just getting anecdotal studies at this point, and it's going to take more time to see if it has any teeth to that.
Got it. I want to just touch on, Danny, I know you grabbed the mask, so thank you. Hold on 1 second for that. Cleo also asked about fevers, if fevers were a side effect, and if so, how long? Did any of you experience a fever after receiving the vaccination?
No.
I didn't experience fever. I did experience nausea. I don't know if anybody else experienced nausea, but I did. It was short-lived, but.
Okay, cool.
Again, I experienced fever. I had chills that night, which is why I had to do a couple undershirts that night. But not this time around so far. But then again, it's only been 4 hours post-procedure or me getting my shot today. We'll see. It was nothing major. It wasn't like I needed an ice bath or anything. It was just really mild.
Right. And Nabaala?
Yeah, so it's hard to, well, for me that is, it's hard to say if it was fever because I didn't check my temp. But like Frank, I had chills, and initially I didn't even think anything of it. I thought, oh my gosh, I had a long day. I am just wasted, tired, and I felt so. I started getting like a little bit of aches, but I felt I had a long day. But I took some Tylenol, and an hour later, I felt better, and I was like, "Oh, Saeeda."
Good old Tylenol to the rescue. Good.
Just FYI, I pre-medicated with Tylenol and Motrin, so.
Huh? What's that?
I pre-medicated with Tylenol and Motrin. I still.
Oh.
Oh.
Yeah. I didn't hear
the Tylenol and Motrin.
I said I pre-medicated with Tylenol and Motrin.
Oh.
So
and can I just say something about what Bill's question was?
Mm-hmm.
Now I did read some of the doctors we were talking about where there were studies done in Denmark, something here, and there's still pending studies, but this show reduced in susceptibility to SARS-2 if you're O negative, or I'm sorry, if you're O negative blood and RH negative. But again, it hasn't been published all over. I know it's in the internal medicine or Angel's internal medicine, or I forgot what it was exactly that they were talking about. But there was studies done last year in September and October. I think it's November, and they're still doing. They're ongoing.
That was. Did you mention RH negative, Frank? Or you're speaking of O negative?
So it's O negative. RH, of course, is something that's on the blood. It's a
okay. Because look, Lenora asked.
Okay.
She said, "How about persons who are RH negative? Is the vaccine okay?" Are any of you familiar?
So off the top of my head, RH negative, you usually hear about that in pregnant women. You don't hear about
right,
it.
That's it. But it's just like I said, it's something that's attached to the blood. It's hard to explain, but right. But again, if you're O negative, RH negative, that was the factor. Everyone has an RH, whether it's negative or positive, but you're only concerned about when we're pregnant.
Okay.
The numbers from those studies are still so small that it's really too early to say that it's going to affect the mass amount of people like that. They still have to wait for that data to continue to build, as Frank was saying.
Absolutely, because
But it was published in an internal medicine review. That's the only reason I actually brought it up.
But even in obtaining that data, like when we just look at ourselves, this is not information that they're collecting in general, and I think that had it been an issue, then, I think that would have been on the forefront that, hey,
Right.
you know what, this particular blood type or that particular blood type thing. And then with the RH negative positive, that is definitely just in pregnancy and stuff.
Got it.
So,
Okay.
yeah.
Thank you. And Lenore said thank you as well. So just a couple questions over here on YouTube. Where is the one from Sharon? Sharon, okay. So good question. This is something that we were going to ask is which vaccine did each of you get? So we're familiar. I think everyone knows there's two, right? Pfizer, and Moderna. So show of hands for Pfizer vaccine. Okay, so Frank, you are Moderna or Pfizer?
My hand was up for Pfizer.
Oh, you were Pfizer. So everyone got the Pfizer vaccine. Now that's.
Well, the Pfizer was the first one that was released.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
Right.
It came out before, and that is what the facilities, because we all received it from our facilities, correct?
Mhm.
Correct.
Correct.
That is what happened. That Pfizer, they were able to send out mass majority first.
So
can I ask Frank real quick? I'm sorry, Frank, did you get the sweats from the first vaccine or the second vaccine? Or did you not have the second yet?
The first.
yeah, the second one today.
Okay.
Yeah, you just had the second one like 4 hours ago, right, Frank?
Correct.
Yep. And Deirdre, you're getting your second Thursday.
Yeah.
Who else had the second one today? Was that you, Nabaala?
The second one.
Okay.
I got it like 5:25. So
I get mine Thursday.
I do on Thursday also.
So Bill has a question. I told him to raise his hand if he has a question, so he's following the rules.
Let me ask you a question, and it wouldn't be Real Talk Chronicles if I didn't ask you a Real Talk question. And if you can't answer it, please let it, if it don't apply, let it fly. Was it pressure from your profession to take it, or it was just something that you just really felt from a medical standpoint for you all being professionals in your field that you just deemed necessary to take?
For me, it was all personal. Professional had nothing to do with it. They offered it. They said, your job is not in jeopardy. You don't have to worry about it. It's totally 100% up to you. And I made the decision to do this.
Yeah. Same thing for my job. They offered it. You had the option to decline it at this time, but take it up later again when it was offered. I did it for personal reasons, but I also made those personal reasons based off of the science of the vaccine and the data behind it.
Exactly. It was optional for us too.
Interesting.
yeah.
So as frontline employees, I don't know why I thought it was mandatory. Does it depend on what your specific position is, or like how do they gauge that?
No.
They offer it to your frontline providers first. They have tiers of who it's offered to.
Right.
They still have the option to decline it. But, based on the data and the population that you're working with, you have to weigh the benefits versus the risk. And,
Of course, yeah.
And so
Yeah.
when you think about it, I mean, it's a personal decision, but, as professionals, in that field, in direct care, I mean, I would hate to know that I'm a silent carrier and I'm around pregnant women, or elderly women or anyone for that matter, and they probably taking it home, to their family members.
Exactly.
So when you think of it as being out there on the front line, a professional decision, yes, because of my profession, but also
Your duty. Okay. Absolutely.
And to protect your family as well.
Absolutely.
Mhm. Mhm.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I heard on the news
Well,
this evening that just wanted to say one thing, Frank. I heard earlier this evening on the news that at the rate that the vaccine is being distributed now, it will probably take a good year or more for everyone to get vaccinated. True
Mhm.
statement from what you're hearing?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
if
absolutely.
you follow the news, look at the doses being delivered, you can see how it is. There's like there's no clear rollout plans been left up to the states, and people in rural areas are even having a harder time since Moderna is the one that can last longer outside versus Pfizer. But I forgot what I wanted to say about we were just talking about a second ago.
Mm-hmm.
Oh
Professional
yeah,
or
as far as
personal?
vaccine goes and getting to your family still,
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I just wanted to add in real quick. As far as the
Mm-hmm.
vaccine goes, we still have to wear masks afterwards because we may not get it per se. Correct me if I'm wrong, but we still can transmit it to other people. Because theoretically speaking, with the
Mm-hmm.
Pfizer, it wasn't there. It wasn't there. It wasn't tested for that. So we still supposed to wear masks outside our environment just to protect others. Although we have vaccine.
So I just need to process that for a second. And I did read exactly what you just said, that even after getting the vaccine, you do still have to wear a mask when you're in close proximity to others. And I believe I also read that it's 95% effective. Is that
It's
correct?
For us,
95% effective after you complete both doses of the vaccine,
Exactly.
7 to 10 days
Right.
after that second dose. However, as Frank was saying, you can still be a silent carrier. There's not enough data to say that it
Right.
protects, that you're protecting other people. What the vaccine does, it protects you from getting the disease. It does not mean that you
So
can pass it on to
you
somebody else.
need to like say that real loud for the people in the back, because that's something that and I'm saying to myself as well, that's something that I don't think they're saying to people. Because I think, I don't know, from what we've been hearing on the news, it seems everybody get vaccinated and we're all
Right.
covered
Their
up. But
goal. Right, their goal is herd immunity. So if everyone gets
right,
vaccinated and you be a silent carrier, you can't transmit someone else's vaccine. So that's the goal, herd immunity, if I remember correctly. So that's why
Yeah.
you're
right,
not hearing that part of it. That's why they're trying to encourage or more and more people to take the
everyone
vaccine
to get it.
because
Right.
that's the way we can eradicate it.
And I think that they are publishing, hey, you still have to maintain social distance. You do still have to wear the mask. We're going to be
Right.
wearing these masks until probably 2022,
Right.
or through the end of
Absolutely.
2021. I don't think that people hear it or get it. It's not a magic bullet.
Exactly. That's what
Right, and that's
I
what he did
want to
say.
help get out. Exactly, help get the word out, because I think the misconception for some people is that, okay, people get the vaccine, we're all good, or Saeeda is vaccinated and Malika isn't, and Malika is still good. It doesn't work that way. You could still pass it on to me, even
Potentially. We don't know for sure.
potentially. Exactly, potentially.
Right.
Very interesting. So, Saeeda, you mentioned earlier that in terms of how long they've been working on the vaccine, the technology, and I think you said 20 years. It's been
out for about 20 years. It's not new technology. It's just
right.
new to this particular vaccine and new to being released out to the public. It's not something they just came up with last year. This has been around for a while.
Because we all know, and I don't think anyone or many of us have even heard of COVID prior to 2020. But then
if you read the Lysol bottle,
I was just going to say, you're going to look on a Lysol can, and there it is.
Exactly.
Big letters is right there. So it's like, oh, okay. So that's what they were referring to. But in terms of the vaccine, it did seem like, and the word on the street was, oh, they hurried up and put this vaccine together. I'm not taking it. And I'm just saying what I've heard and also what I'm guilty of saying. At first,
See, that's what we go through all the time. That's what we go through all the time talking to people. Like you said, it's been decades of research related to SARS, HIV, and influenza, and how to counter them. And all they did was repurpose, using those same tracks of actually the data to make this vaccine. That's why they need multi-years. Plus, it was a global initiative. More money was spent on this vaccine than cancer or anything else combined.
it's interesting. we're going to repeat that again before the show ends, because people need to know it wasn't a quick, fast, and a hurry. And maybe that'll help ease people's fears and, make people feel a little bit more comfortable in getting it. And, I'm looking at each of you. You each have had the vaccine, and two of you just had it today for the second time. You look great to me, right? Look like you're doing pretty good. So, yeah, again, that's the point of this show, is to help get the word out and help educate people from real people who have vaccinated and know exactly what they're talking about. Let's see. We have, how do they say, the lines are on fire? They are burning up. So everybody got Pfizer. Pfizer was the first one to come out with it. Because Pfizer came out first. Yep. So we talked about that one. Sharon McCleary said, what are the documented? We talked about the side effects already. Antoinette says, you could also please talk about exactly how the vaccine works, maybe what's in it. So can we talk about what's actually in the vaccine?
I can say that there is no live virus in the vaccine. The vaccine is made up of messenger RNA, and not being an expert on the vaccine itself, but in short, they've developed a technology where they can take a little piece of the gene of the COVID vaccine, and it doesn't contain live virus. They're able to put it into the body and trick the body into thinking that it has COVID, so that the body mounts an immune response to it. And, that's it. Short and sweet. It's nothing that's really deep. It's just different from other vaccines that have been released previously.
Thank you.
Can I piggyback on Saeeda? Right. It's messenger RNA. So it sends a message to the cell how to make a protein. That triggers, like you said, an immune response to produce the antibodies. That's all it is. So it doesn't affect the DNA sequence. It's messenger RNA.
Right. And what is RNA? Because I've seen that, I've read it, I've heard you all saying it, but I want to make sure we all know what it is.
So it's the building blocks of our cells. In short, I hate to admit it, but I can't go back into RNA and break it down to those little digestible pieces. But it's just the building blocks for our cells and teaching the body to build the immune response.
There we go.
All right. Thank you. So we got questions all over the place. I'm trying to make sure that I get to them all. You want to do your public service announcement before we get to Ms. Pearl's question?
Yes. We ready?
Yes.
Okay, everybody. This is Real Talk Chronicles. We appreciate you all. Like it. If you're on YouTube, subscribe to it. Push the thumb button. Go on Facebook. Share it. Let people know what Malika and I are doing right now. And thank you for this wonderful panel. We've got Dr. Marilyn Corder coming up on the 18th. The one thing about us is what we're trying to do is give you the best content that we can do, and that's just real. It's real. I know Pearline had a question. She said, I never had the flu shot, and then she's 69 years old. My cardiologist says I need to get this shot. Any comment? Anybody?
Get it. That's all I can say.
What was that? I'm sorry. I keep going in and out.
Yeah, so Miss Pearl said Miss Pearl is 69 years old, and honestly, if you ever have the pleasure of meeting her, you'll be like, can I see some ID, please? Right? She's a bundle of energy, very lovely lady. And she said that she's never had the flu shot, but her cardiologist says that she needs to get the shot. So she just wanted to know your opinion on that.
Vaccines have a proven track record. If you're going to bet on something, you want to bet on something that has a long history and a proven track record. There are more people that are saved by vaccines from epidemics and pandemics than there are those that never got a vaccine. So if I was going to bet on something, I'm going to bet on my higher odds of survival.
And I would also like to add, too, that if she's got a cardiologist, she's likely got some cardiac issues. So one of the things that COVID virus or COVID disease affects is people have been known to have lasting effects that are affecting them cardiac wise. So in my opinion, just because she has a pre-existing condition then she would want to get the vaccine because she just doesn't want to put herself at risk, particularly when it has to do with your heart.
Exactly. Thank you, Danny. Thank you, everybody. I want to go on down the list. Lenora says, will seniors be receiving a different type of COVID vaccine? Example, like a stronger dose similar to the flu vaccine.
It's still too early yet. Everybody's going to get the same thing.
Got quite a number of thank yous and hellos. Great panel. People are sending you all a lot of love. Cleo says, prior to the vaccine, how did any of you know you weren't a silent carrier? Was it mandatory that you were tested every day? So how did you know you weren't a silent carrier, Frank?
So for us, yeah, we had to get tested weekly. So yes, we were tested weekly to see if whether or not we were exposed, though potentially exposed to anyone else. Because remember, what we do is we're opening you up. We're doing invasive procedures to your heart. So you're susceptible to anything we might have, let alone with COVID. So yes, we were getting tests weekly. And people were still getting COVID. Whether it been from outside or somewhere, they were still getting COVID. So
yeah, and like for our institution, you get your temperature taken every day. And if you have any symptoms, if you got a fever, chills, you're told do not come into work. If it doesn't go away, then you have to be tested in order to come back.
Thank you. Gwen mentioned that there's a third vaccine, AstraZeneca. They haven't been approved yet, or they have been approved?
They have not yet been approved yet.
not here in the United States, only in the UK.
Okay. Only in the UK. All right, got it. So let me switch on over to YouTube. I'm just going to keep on going down the list. So Mark Waller says, Happy New Year. Great show. God bless all of the professional guests. Healthcare is nothing without people like these. Totally agree. We already talked about which vaccine did everyone get. How did your guests feel about Dr. Moore passing in Indiana Hospital, claiming it was racism? I'm not familiar with that story.
That's the doctor that was in national news where she was streaming on YouTube Live about the inadequate treatment that she was receiving in the hospital. And from her perspective, she felt that it was racial discrimination, that had she been a white woman, that they would have been more apt to listen to her. I mean, she's a physician. Nobody knows her better than she does. Right. And yet with her telling the doctors, hey, I'm in pain, I need pain medication, and I should be on Resdesimir, they kind of just pushed her off. And she died. She was a respected doctor. And then the comments that came from that institution afterwards, like, oh, well, she was intimidating the staff, like it was a lot of bullshit. It was not right. That's a whole nother topic in and of itself.
Yeah, that's a whole nother show. Definitely circle back on. Z Mobile said, I appreciate you all and all that you do to educate and answer the questions on this topic is truly appreciated and important. So another round of applause for each of you. Sharon McCleary said, how does the vaccine affect an immunosuppressive person? Annie, Frank, Saeeda, Nabaala.
Anybody that is on immunosuppressants, we don't tell them that they can't get the vaccine. Mm-hmm. So right now, as far as we know, it doesn't have an effect. It's more protective than it is dangerous. Again, it's a benefit versus risk thing. If you have underlying health conditions that would make you more predisposed to getting the disease and having a more severe form of it, you want to take a vaccine to protect you.
Mm-hmm. And someone who is immunocompromised, I mean, it means that they are more susceptible to viruses and diseases, just in general, to getting sick. And so for them, it would be important and encouraged to get the vaccine.
Thank you. All right, this Colette has another question. She said, what is the purpose of the vaccines? We already covered that, but she said, if you've already had COVID-19, should you take the vaccine again?
Yeah.
Yes.
So
yes.
That's all right. That's all we want to get for that one. Moving on. Yes.
Sorry, the only thing that they're saying is that just for like the access of the vaccine, at least for my organization, what they're saying is that for people who were tested positive, they ask that they wait about 3 months before getting the vaccine to allow others who probably were never tested or were not positive to allow them the opportunity to get the vaccine.
Because you have an immunity to the vaccine, to the
Exactly.
virus, because you've had it. So it lasts about 90 days.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay. So if you have COVID, recovered from it, you're immune for approximately 90 days.
About 90 days.
Right.
So, all
So
right,
studies
can I ask you,
done.
wait, can I ask you a question? I thought, because we've seen people get reinfected in less than 90 days.
Absolutely.
There's different strains. So you
Yeah,
may be immune to
absolutely.
that strain again, but you can acquire a different strain, just like the
Right.
flu vaccine.
This
you
is
can
a short period, though, that you have
Right,
immunity to.
right.
It's not forever. And
Not
again, it's still
forever.
so early.
Right, I got that. But as far as saying that, we can be immune for up to a certain period of time, you still can go out the same week and acquire a different strain and be sick again, sicker or not as sick.
Right. But I think at least, and I'm just speaking based on our my organization, because you have because you had the virus,
Antibodies.
you had the antibodies, and
Mhm.
so because of that, because basically what we're getting from the vaccine, where it's the
Tricking our
antibodies
body
that
to
we're
produce
building.
the antibodies.
Exactly. Tricking our body to think that we have COVID, and so our body it's building those antibodies. So similarly, with people who have had COVID, just for that short period of time, it's what they're asking. But it doesn't by any means mean that no, you should not get the vaccine. I think that's just what it's saying.
Exactly. Thank you. So Estelle Logan has a good question. She said, why is it taking so long for other vaccines to be distributed and the COVID vaccine came out so quickly?
Again, the COVID vaccine didn't come out quickly.
20 years in the making, right?
The technology has been 20 years in the making. They have been studying the COVID virus for many years.
Yep, got it. And then Sharon says it. Go ahead, Nabaala.
Yeah, like COVID, studying SARS. I mean, they have been studying that for many years. And, as Frank said, they were able to roll this out because it was like a communal thing that they did. It was, worldwide. It wasn't just, one small subset trying to make
Global.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. I have to just 2 seconds and say thank you again. We are not ending. We're going to keep on rolling. We have numbers through the roof. And just think, the flyer just went out today about this, right? We've been talking about it on the low, but we appreciate everybody that's tuning in both on Facebook and on YouTube. Please share. We are getting the facts out. Our healthcare professionals are taking the time this evening to share their personal experiences, professional information that they're giving out to everybody. This is valuable information. Share it. If you don't want to ever miss a Real Talk Chronicles episode, subscribe to the YouTube channel. It's that easy. Just hit that subscribe button and you'll always get alerted about what's going on. So I'm going to switch back over to Facebook. And we have, all right, Bill wants me to jump the list of questions. I go down the list so I don't miss anything.
I'm sorry.
They're all good.
We're coming back to you.
Yes,
Listen,
we're
going to
come
try to get, and everybody, please go back in later on and answer these questions, because post is up on YouTube. It's up on Real Talk Chronicles. You may not see the YouTube questions. You probably will see both of them, the YouTube and the Real Talk Chronicles questions. So go back and answer them. They need your input, because a lot of times people are fearful of doing this thing. And the more I hear, maybe the more I'm inclined to, Malika and I have our own conversations on the outside and talk about maybe taking this vaccine, because the bottom line is you have pre-existing conditions. Some people have age. There's a multitude of things that are causing people to have fear or loss, along with things in the past. But the bottom line is everybody wants to see another day. Because I sure damn do, because tomorrow's birthday.
Tomorrow's a holiday. It's Bill's birthday.
Yes. I don't work on my birthday.
It's so funny. A couple weeks ago, I heard Bill scheduling a show. Yeah, January 6th, we'll do it. I'm like, Bill, call that guy back and tell him there will not be a show on January 6th. It's your birthday. What's up with that, dude? You can't work on your birthday. All right, and we all have heard about the new strand. I'm going to get to Cheryl's question in a second. Oh, what is the word that they're saying? A new variant. I think they're saying on the news there's a new variant or a new strand. They said a couple weeks ago it was over in the UK.
Right, it's a variant, correct.
So it's still COVID, but it's a different type of COVID. And the thing is, this person wants to know, did it reproduce itself or to be more deadly, or did it have help from that was Cleo who said that. Who knows? Who knows even where this came from? I don't even know if anybody, can we definitively say COVID came from X, Y, and Z? I don't know if anybody has the answer. I think we all have theories around that. I know I sure have quite a few theories, but it's not too nice. All right, so let's see. June Broxton. She said, Malika, do any of your panelists have underlying conditions? And if so, did they consider their condition before taking the Pfizer vaccine? This may also be a reason why people of color fear taking the vaccine.
Well,
you can answer that or you're not. It's totally up to you if you want to divulge.
I mean, I don't mind. I have hypertension. I'm a Black woman. Everybody in my family has hypertension practically. And it's controlled with medication. And I really didn't consider that. I mean, it came up a little bit, but more than considering my comorbidity, I guess you could call it, was just like all the other factors that play into this thing. People who don't have any comorbidities are getting COVID and dying. People who do are getting it and surviving. It really is. There's no real, in my opinion, rhyme or reason to how this thing is working. Some people survive and some people don't. Thankfully, an overwhelming number of people do survive, but too many people are dying. So did that play a part in my decision? A little bit, but it was like the other stuff that was more important. And real quick, I just want to say, for people who are thinking about the Black part of it, we have our concerns being Black people about the government and whatnot. This vaccine is not only targeted to Black people like the Tuskegee experiment was. We're actually starting with healthcare professionals. And when you think about it, are you really going to start with healthcare professionals when you put out something that's going to be harmful to people? I really don't think that that's the case. Are there conspiracies that go on? Yeah, I believe there are, but I don't believe this is one.
Yeah, I have hypertension as well. I found out 2.5 years ago, and it's controlled by medication. And I have to tell you that is one of my fears. So I'm in that group of let me wait and see. Well, I have no choice to wait. I'm not a frontline worker. I'm not a healthcare professional. I'm not over 60. Last time I checked, even though some days I feel like I am. But but that was something that was on my mind, and I was always curious if that was something that was on other people's minds.
Well, you know what, Malika, I think having a comorbidity actually should encourage you to get it rather than discourage you to get it, because then you would be more likely to suffer more severe consequences from the disease. So considering that, you want to protect yourself even more because you have something already going on.
Very true. Thank you, Danny. For me,
can I just say this?
Hear that.
Can I say this? Whoever's listening, if you have hypertension and diabetes combined, you really need to get this vaccine. And as far as fear goes, for people who are healthy, I can't say name, I say age. 28 or 26? Anyway, he had been in the West Coast, and his mother actually was talking to us on the phone. She was laying on our table, was telling us how he was sick for a couple of days. It's probably COVID. Later, he tested positive for antibodies. He didn't pass away. He didn't die, but he had permanent pulmonary scarring in his lungs from pulmonary vein embolisms. You don't have to die for this disease to be messed up for the rest of your life. There's a ton of complications associated with this disease. So you need to weigh everything, let alone if you have comorbidities, about whether you want to take this vaccine or not.
And talk about the kidneys too, Frank. I said the kidneys too, especially when you talk about hypertension and diabetes. You hear me?
I'm sorry. Go ahead. One more time. Talk about the kidneys.
Mentioned, right.
Right. If you have end-stage renal disease or the kidneys too, but the main thing is with diabetes, they're really susceptible. That's what a lot of the studies have shown. So if you have both heart disease and diabetes, you're just really at high risk. But I really want to talk to all these people out there who I'm not at risk, or I don't go and get seen by a doctor and so forth. I feel fine. We have people coming all the time who felt fine initially, and then all of a sudden it hit them. Or I got blood clots in my leg. I don't know where it came from. Oh, you got antibodies for COVID. And well, we had to do this procedure. Like that guy was a runner, and will he run again? I don't know, but I know was constantly short of breath. I don't know his end game at the hospital. I assumed they was gonna have a very long road to recovery if he ever got back to running distance running again.
Interesting. All right, I need to get down a list here because I promised everybody I'm going to get to their questions, and I don't want to hold you all because I know you each have had a long day. And if you need to hop off at any point, just wave goodbye and disconnect. No hard feelings, but we're going to keep, we have approximately 30 more minutes left, and we're going to get through these. So this one is if you're asymptomatic and get the vaccine. Asymptomatic and get the vaccine, does it help clear your body of the virus, or does it prevent you from giving it to others?
So if you're asymptomatic and you get the vaccine, we don't know what it's going to do. It's probably the virus for a shorter duration, but it's not guaranteed. There are a lot of healthcare professionals now that are getting the vaccine, and some of them are coming down with being COVID positive a few days later, but more than likely they were COVID positive before they got the vaccine. They were just asymptomatic and no one knew that they had it.
Thank you. Okay, Ms. Eunice says, after first line responders, cops, firemen, nursing home people, people who are working with patients, who is next in line? And she said, I understand that seniors will be in June. Do we know who's next?
So we started here already in Texas. The group 1B, aged over 65, people with chronic conditions. I had friends of mine went and got their first dose this past weekend, and they ran out of doses. So 1B has started, I thought in most states. I'm not exactly sure it hasn't, but they have started already. If you have a chronic condition or over the age 65, you can sign up.
Interesting.
But also keep in mind, it's going to vary state by state, depending on what your state government decides. And don't ever forget, if you have some money, you might be getting your vaccine before somebody else that has a higher comorbidity.
Interesting. People can jump the line, huh?
There are people that are jumping.
It's been shown so far.
Not cool.
I can't stress enough the I understand people's concerns, their fears, but I can't stress enough the importance of really thinking about getting the vaccine, because I think, as Frank said, the comorbidities, and guess what? It is our population who do not follow up with healthcare as much, or, just due to the history of the disparities in healthcare. It is our population that is being most affected by this. And so if nothing else, we can think about, the short-term effects of getting a vaccine, having malaise, having, these short-term side effects versus getting COVID and having the long-term side effects that Frank just spoke about,
let alone the ones we don't even know about yet.
Exactly. So when we think about it, and a lot of people aren't talking, a lot of people who have had COVID, I can tell you, my mom, to this day, she would tell you, I just don't feel the same. She can't say exactly what it is, but she just knows that, her energy level, the things that she just doesn't feel the same. And, the more we talk to people, the more we realize, wow, this is really, really hitting us hard. And what other choices do we have, at this point in time? We look months down the line, 9 months from when it all started, what choice do we have, today?
Exactly. So we're going to thank you, and we're going to go down the questions at the end of this before we signed off. I want to go around and ask each of you, what are some recommendations that you have for those of us who probably won't be able to get vaccinated until later in the year? You know, how do we continue to stay safe and healthy? So just think about some recommendations that you want to give out to the audience. So Ms. Cheryl, I'm getting to your question now. She said there's conflicting information regarding the age of which it can be distributed. Pfizer says 18 and over, Moderna says 16 and over. Now they want to give it to younger children. Can any one of you clarify this?
So I actually answered her question. They haven't done they haven't done any testing in patients that are under the age of 16 years old. So Moderna did do testing in 16 and up, and Pfizer did it in 18 and up. So, you know, there's not a lot of data on pregnant and nursing moms. The AACIP, I forget what the acronym stands for, but that particular governing body recommends that pregnant and nursing moms get it. They feel that there's more benefit than risk to it for moms not getting the vaccine. Again, vaccines have a proven history of saving moms and saving babies through active and passive immunity from getting vaccines. So all I can do is push it and say, get your vaccine.
Right. Thank you. All right. Lisa said, my mother is 87. She has dementia. She tested presumptive positive back in April, and I am not consenting to her receiving the vaccine in her fragile state currently.
What's the question?
Just a statement. I just wanted to see your facial reactions to that.
That's not
You know?
It's okay.
It's a personal choice. Exactly.
Choice, yeah.
And that's, yep, exactly. That, and Lisa, you know what's best. You know, you know your mom. So we will just continue to keep her in our prayers. All righty. So moving on down the list here. Lisa also said, as a recent breast cancer survivor, she's been in remission since July of last year. I'm concerned about taking the vaccine. Should I take the vaccine? So
I'd say yes.
for herself. Is that a yes? Yes for her.
I would recommend it.
Okay. Thank you.
More importantly, what does her doctor say?
Exactly. Yeah, definitely check with your doctor, Lisa. June says, Danielle, I understand, but how do you know that your hypertension medication won't have a negative effect with the vaccine?
How do you know what?
How do you know
Hypertension.
the high blood pressure medication won't have a negative effect with the vaccine?
Well, I don't offhand know that. There's not been any evidence to suggest that the vaccine is going to interact with the medication that I take. And again, I am lucky. I don't take a lot of medication. I take a low dose, one low dose medication, but I do know that the disease, along with other comorbidities, does propose a great risk. So with all of this, like I said from the beginning, like I feel like the benefit outweighs the risk. I mean, there's a whole lot we still don't know. And, you know, there are things that I am concerned about when it comes to what might happen with this vaccine. But I really feel like it's safe enough to make the emergency use authorization. And I just feel like the benefit of getting it outweighs the risk of getting COVID.
Definitely. Brother Cleo, Frank, you want to add to that?
Yeah, because it's like they adjust your blood pressure medication over time for different things as you age or your hypertension get worse or better. You know, there's no site there's nothing that shows interaction with whether it be a calcium channel block or a beta block. There's nothing out there showing that. But anytime you say if that person is worried about decreased effect or increased effect, you'll notice changes in your body, whether it be headache or sluggish stuff that you report to your doctor. But again, that question is really directed towards your doctor, your PCP, or your cardiologist, your hypertension, or PCP, whoever's taking care of you. But I'm piggybacking with that. I haven't seen anything out there yet that shows any difference. But you just have to monitor yourself.
Yeah. And, you know, Frank, I mean, you are in there the most seeing it. People are not dying. I think people are not dying of COVID, but they're dying of the complications of COVID.
Yeah.
Correct.
You know, and I think that is what we need to understand, that having COVID doesn't mean that that is what is going to kill you, but it's the complications of it. It's the lungs, that is compromised. It is, the other things, especially when you have other comorbidities like the hypertension, the diabetes. Those are the things that I can tell you, I don't know if my mom would like me talking about this, but she's diabetic. She was diabetic. And
we won't tell her Nabaala.
and because
Mom's gonna get you.
She's gonna get me. Because she had COVID, and this is just giving you like relative, right? Like what we understand. Just as non-medical professional. Well, I understand as a medical professional, but just talking there.
Right.
She wasn't eating, but her blood sugar was 600.
Mhm.
So now you're talking about looking at going into DKA. Now you're talking about looking at other things that can be affected by the high blood pressure, high blood sugar. So when you look at those things, it's not the COVID that is actually, it's not that, but it is the comorbidities that you have. So if you get the vaccine, they're saying that it doesn't necessarily prevent you entirely from getting COVID, but what it does, it helps your body to fight it in a sense that you're not going to be as affected hadn't you not gotten the vaccine. Am I saying that right, Frank?
Correct.
And Saeeda, am I saying that right?
Yeah.
So when we think about it, okay, mild COVID, little symptoms, or big COVID, big symptoms.
Right.
Get the shot, mild COVID. Don't get the shot, big COVID. And that's how I look at it.
And you're totally right. That's what we discussed earlier. We said, at the end of the day, when you get this vaccine, it makes antibodies, right? It tricks the cells to make a protein that makes antibodies, your immune response. Right? So therefore, say you get COVID, say you're a COPD, okay, someone has a chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, okay, and you get COVID, and it's just wreaking havoc on your lungs. Okay, the biggest thing with COPD is it causes, I don't know how to say this, you have capillaries here in your that meet at a point near your lungs. It's called A gradient. It's like saying the way we breathe or our oxygenation or our chemistry works in our body is we have
exchange
perfusion, right? Exchange, gas exchange, okay? But we have perfusion, oxygen, CO2, blah, blah, blah. That space is at a certain distance. That's like saying I throw a football 20 yards, while COVID increased that yards to 100 yards. I can't throw that football 100 yards half the time. Thus, there's lots of complications. And so you take a vaccine, you're not getting those complications associated with COVID, and boom, if you don't take it and you get complications, well, COPD or some ventilator, anybody don't like to come off of it, let alone in a COVID state. So, it's like I said, everyone has to just weigh it out, but it's the complications that people are dying from, like you stated, which is why they say COVID deaths are underreported in this country.
Malika, you're muted.
Okay, no, that's fine. Sorry. You want to say something?
Well, I didn't know if you're gonna do it like that. Everybody, this is Real Talk Chronicles. We're on Facebook Live, we're on YouTube Live. Subscribe to it, please. Share the links, let people know what's going on. I just want to have some public service announcements that we have some upcoming events coming up. On the 11th, we have Pastor John Brown talking about financial literacy. On the 13th, we have domestic violence in Casio from NYPD. We have some people coming up on the 18th, Real Talk with Allison Williams. We have Dr. Marilyn Corder coming in talking about COVID-19. She took the chief of staff.
Can't hear you.
So we're gonna.
Yeah, we can't hear you, Bill.
Well,
There you go.
Well, we're gonna. What did you did not hear? Help me out.
About 30 seconds.
What I was saying on the public service announcements, we have on the 11th, Yeah, Pastor John Brown coming in talking about financial literacy. On the 13th, we have domestic violence. We have some NYPD affiliates coming and talking about it. On the 18th, the First Lady of Def Jam and I will be having Dr. Marilyn Corder coming in talking about COVID too. So you're all more than welcome to kind of chime back in. 20th, we have Borough President Eric Adams stopping in to talk to us about his upcoming election in New York City. So we got some full slates. Go ahead.
We also have some exciting news to share with you. No, it's not that. No. Bill has a brand new website that he's going to launch very soon, right, Bill?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
So all the dates that he just mentioned, all the upcoming shows, linked to our YouTube channel, everything is on there. You have had a very good, diligent website designer working with you, right, Bill?
Who is she?
Oh, I don't know.
I can tell.
So Bill's not only my best friend, my husband, but he's also my client.
Exactly.
And it's been a pleasure going through everything. You have had a very, and are having a very interesting life. I have to say that.
I don't know how to take that, everybody.
No,
I'm gonna just keep that right where it's at.
Interesting in a good way. Like, I'll use one of my props. I've been able to take a closer look into who Bill Foster is.
Oh my God. There's a lot going on with you.
You don't know, now you know.
Right now,
You have to have humor, and yes, I do have lots of
especially
props.
married to me, you definitely do.
Yes,
I want to
have
thank you
keep
all
laughing.
first and foremost. Appreciate you taking the time out of your day to come and give some insight. First, I always say this: once you're a part of Real Talk Chronicles, once you're on it, you're always welcome back. All you got to do is just ask, and we'll send you the link, and you're always able to converse with whomever we are interviewing at that time. And the beautiful thing about Real Talk Chronicles, you are all professionals in your fields, and we respect your opinion, because there's a lot of disclaimers and a lot of people out here that have feelings about this. Even I, but every time I talk to one of you and listen to one of you, I'm more inclined to take the vaccine.
I agree, because we've been talking about this for a while, right? Off and on, here and there. People say, "Oh, you want to take it?" And we're like, "Heck no, I'm not taking it." I mean, I'm guilty of it. Bill's guilty. We've been saying that. And prior to this show, I have started having a change of heart. And this has honestly definitely changed my decision in that, because I want to be around. I want to live a long life. I want to not only protect myself, but I want to protect my mom, my husband, people that I got to walk my dog every day. But the bottom line is, it's about being educated, and each of you have helped us educate everyone that has tuned in today. And I truly thank and appreciate you. I mean, there's so many hearts that have been flying and thank you messages. I do encourage you to go back on. Feel free to comment, but also just read what people are saying about you. Like June said, in all capital letters, "Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for taking the time to participate in this panel and for answering all of our questions and providing insight to our concerns. You are appreciated. Be blessed and stay safe." Lisa said, "Thank you for this panel, Bill and Malika." And to the medical and essential workers on the panel, God bless you all. Sister Anna is clapping for us. Lenora said, "Thank you, panelists, so much. Malika and Bill, this has been so informative. Great forum. It's going on. And if you don't believe me, each of you, go out there. Everyone loves you. They love you, and I love you too."
And this is what I'm going to ask all of you in the new year. Brother Bill doesn't beg, Malika doesn't beg, but we're going to ask all of you, everyone that's watching, ghost watching, that are in this group, please, if you're Facebook friends with us, share it to somebody. Let your Facebook friends see it. If you're on YouTube, share it. Go to YouTube and share the link. All of you now are Facebook, YouTube for life. So this is history right now. You guys here and ladies, you may save somebody's life. and I say that on real sincerity, because there are people in our community, people of color, brown people, that have a lot of skepticism with this, and they will not take this. So the information that you all are giving is imperative to saving lives, and I appreciate that, and I thank you from the bottom of my heart. Right, sweetie?
Yes, absolutely. I'm just throwing up the heart signs, right? I'm always throwing out the heart, but
Tell everybody out there that's watching, throw up the heart signs for all these
yes,
first
yeah, we
liners.
want to see a bunch of hearts flying through. I mean, it's so much love coming through from each of you, and it's all well deserved. It really is. I know I reached out kind of last minute, and I've been thinking and like, oh, should we? And the answer is heck yeah, we should. People need to know. Thank you. I see the hearts coming for our guests. This is incredible. Someone said that you have completely changed her mind. Completely. She was totally against getting the vaccine before, and now she's all for it.
Who said that?
That's great. Can I just say something real quick, Malika? I'm sorry to interrupt you, but a lot of people I've been experiencing who either come into the hospital or personally, people say, "Can I just quarantine at home? Can I just not be in the hospital?" I don't. At this point, I'm not suggesting anybody go to the emergency room if it's not really an emergency or something important because of COVID. But I can't stress enough. If you are having any trouble breathing, do not stay home and try and figure it out. Go to a hospital if you're having trouble breathing. This thing can get really serious really quickly, and you don't want to put yourself in harm's way, particularly people who live alone or with little children.
I could not say that better than you. Unfortunately, we just lost a very close friend of ours just about a month ago. And when I tell you, we saw him on a Thursday, and the following weekend, he was gone. So, he's a frontline worker, a Philadelphia police officer, a very good friend of ours, Officer Tab Ali, for 10 years, and
I saw all of that.
deeply missed. And, what I kept hearing was that, he was one of those people that was just very private, very quiet. And he loved to work. He loved helping out. And I don't know. And I keep asking myself, why didn't he just go to the doctor? I don't know what he was going through. After the fact, I started hearing some of the symptoms that people were hearing that he was going through, but it's just a lingering question that I'll always have. Why was he taken from us so quickly, in a week, riding his bike last time we saw him, and then gone from COVID the week after. So the whole point, this show has a lot of deep meaning for each of us in a lot of different ways. And if only we could have done this 2 months ago or a month and a half ago, but the whole point is any life that we can save by getting the information out, that's what we're going to do. So I thank you from the bottom of my heart for this. I'm gonna need something a little stronger than this sparkling water here.
Malika, can I say something?
Yes, Deirdre, please.
With being in the ER, I see people come in for abdominal pain. Oftentimes I wait to make sure that the doctor, the nurse, everyone goes in and does what they have to do before I go in and see if they test positive for COVID. There have been many people, many rooms I've walked into, and then all of a sudden they're COVID positive. And that puts me at
risk. 1 second, Deirdre. I'm not sure who's. Okay, go ahead, Deirdre.
And that, that puts everyone at risk. Not everyone's social distance. They want to travel, they want to go out, they just want to be with their friends, just a little bit, just one time. We're just gonna have dinner one time. And you wind up exposing yourself and then going around other people who have been social distancing for months, and then they catch it. And they could be asymptomatic and then pass it on to someone who will then have symptoms. So we have to, be honest and wash your hands, social distance. This vaccine is almost a must. We have to do it for everyone, not just for you. It's for everyone.
Yeah.
That is so true. You're seeing them when they first come in. So true.
Yeah. And I want to say that I mean, how many of us really and truly before now or before the vaccine came out, how many of us were skeptical about it? I think all of us were skeptical, like, I'm not taking this. And it could have been a personal thing, could have been a political thing, because look at when the vaccine's coming out. But when we look at it all together, like, I was skeptical. I can tell you that. You guys know. I mean, we spoke about this, Bill and Malika, and both Courtney and I were like, we're not taking the first round. So we were skeptical. So for everyone out there, it is okay to question, and it, definitely ask questions. But from our standpoint of being, the benefits that outweigh the risk, I mean, we look at it at all points, just as what you just said, I mean, I think the question is now at this point, why not? Because we are so deep into the pandemic and we're not seeing that change that we need to see, so why not make that change and, try something else? Because we have been trying the mask, we have been social distancing, and yet still, so why not?
Absolutely. Thank you. Before we close out, like I mentioned earlier, I would love if each of you can just take a minute or two and offer just a bit of advice on, the rest of us who are not at the front line or top of the list to get the vaccine. What do we do? So, some of the things that we've been doing, obviously, is the whole thing, like you're saying, washing hands, social distancing, wearing a mask. Sometimes I'm been known to wear 2 masks going into the store. So,
let me tell you something. My wife is not playing, and I have to appreciate you. I want to say that because there's probably a time when I may have thought about being a little bit lax. I'm going to use that word because I'm getting tired, and but everybody out there, please, if you're trying to see tomorrow, just follow procedures and protocol, because I don't have the answer to it. If I did, I would give it to you. That's why we have you all here,
the experts,
experts here, you all are experts, and we're asking you all to come back please next month. We will allot some time for you, and come back and give us some updates on what's happening in these hospitals. Nothing to jeopardize your job or your profession, but please come back and just give us some intel so we can share these things. Like I said, we have some things coming up. We have Dr. Marilyn Corder coming in on the 18th. We want some of you to come back, with Malika on her shows or my shows. Just let us know, and we'll be here for you. Thank you. Appreciate you.
So quick remedies. So I'm all about hearing about new things that we can do. It's all about trying to keep our immune system as strong as possible. We have the vitamins laid out. I'm a huge, huge, huge fan of fresh ginger. How many times a day? I drink it probably like 2 or 3 times a day. I have, what you say, it's a whole process, right? It's all laid out. I shred the ginger. It has to be just right. And in the past 3 weeks, we've been adding sea moss because I've heard that that's really good. So if I have a little bit of a glow, I'm going to attribute that to my sea moss and my ginger. That's where Bill's glow is coming from, because every morning I'm like, here, Bill, drink this, drink this.
Bill, I'm from the Caribbean, and sea moss, boy.
Can you hear her?
No.
Yeah.
Put your ears.
I said I'm from the Caribbean, and sea moss, they say it's good for the men. So
Say it again.
Say a little bit louder, Nabaala. He need to hear that.
I said I'm from the Caribbean, and it said that sea moss, it's really good for the men.
Well, I'm gonna take it like that. I'm gonna get you Swallow it and goggle it and squish it and
Look at
curl
that.
it.
Hey, double up on the dose over here now. All
All you
right
gotta
now.
do, I can you just
You know,
one dose.
We're
You don't
going to
have
keep
to
this
double up.
PG. I'm going to make it
Yeah,
X-rated.
like my man Martin Lawrence said, you don't want none of this.
Yes, it's a comedy show all the time. So, any little other tidbits or remedies, or just any words of advice, parting words for our audience? Deirdre, we're going to start with you. Saeeda, Frank, Nabaala, and Danielle.
Let's just continue with the social distancing, washing the hands, just protecting yourself, wearing those masks is so important. We're going to have those masks for a very long time, at least a couple of years. I see it. And take the vaccine.
Yes. Thank you, Deirdre. All the best to you and your husband down there in VA. And it's so good to see you, lady. Yes. All right, Saeeda.
So my advice to you, number one, would be when the vaccine's available for you to get it, don't hesitate, go get it, get vaccinated. It only works if people get vaccinated and we have herd immunity. Beyond that, get plenty of rest, take your vitamins, eat well, do the basic things that you were supposed to be doing before the pandemic struck. It's so important. You can't, help people if you're all burnt out. So you have to get your rest, exercise, eat healthy, the basics. There's no magic pill.
Thank you, Saeeda. Always good seeing you as well. 2 thumbs up. All right, Frank. Go ahead, Frank.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Same thing. Just get your rest. Do your vitamins. Do the same routines you've been doing as far as wearing your mask, sanitizing yourself. Every time I step back in my car, I sanitize. If I go in a grocery store, I come back and sanitize. I'm like what Sanjay Gupta said. I bring home groceries, wipe them down, sanitize. It's just where we are right now. It's unfortunate, but at the end of the day, COVID is more so. So take precautions. Do what you're supposed to do. Take care of yourself. I want to see you around years from now.
Thank you, Frank. Stay safe out there in Houston, right?
Yeah, I'm on call tonight, so gotta go.
All right.
All right, be careful, bro.
Thank you, Frank. Appreciate
Y'all take
you.
care.
All
See
right.
you.
Okay.
And don't try to show off your guns anymore. You're trying to cheat. I saw you trying to show off the cheat.
You know, Bill,
Yeah.
I heard.
I saw
Bye.
you. Also, you come on the show and try to wear the tightest T-shirt and show your arm. That ain't got nothing to do with
Man, I ain't gonna let this down. Remove this pose. I was just getting a shot in the arm.
Oh my goodness.
You ain't the only one that got tight T-shirts. I got one.
It was Bryson's. I couldn't help myself. You know what? On that note, bye.
That was hilarious. Yeah. Frank shared the video of him getting vaccine number 2 today, and all you saw were these muscles popping out when he was
Tight T-shirt, Frank.
All right, Nabaala, you're up next.
I'm just piggybacking on everyone else. Wear your mask, wash your hands. All those people who wear the gloves out, I understand, but just use the hand sanitizer. Don't use the hand sanitizer on the glove and then hold your phone and then dip into your bag. And, that's a false sense of security. Lose the gloves, wash your hands. You go into the store, you come out of the store, wash your hands, keep that mask on. The vitamins. I work with an integrative medicine physician, and she encourages zinc and turmeric. You can get the turmeric
Yes.
capsules. So the turmeric right now, it's big for a lot of things. It helps especially younger people with HPV, and all these different things. So add turmeric. You can get the little capsules. And it helps with the immunity in general. All right, and just stay safe, social distance, and stay safe. It's tough. I know it's tough because I break the rules, but it's tough.
I know. It's hard, but we can do it.
Yeah.
We've done it all this time. We can continue to do it because
absolutely.
This time next year, we're going to regroup and be like, yeah, remember when?
Yes.
I can't wait.
Yeah.
For the remaining panel here, do you ever think it's going to go back to the way it used to be?
Bill,
Couldn't hear you.
do you ever think it's going to go back to the way it used to be?
Not all the way back.
Not totally.
Not totally.
Yeah.
It'll be a new normal.
Yeah. I mean, just thinking about it, we never thought, at least for me, I never thought about pathogens on this level. Just think about it, that, you can be close to someone, sometimes sharing a glass, and you don't even think twice. Now, you're like, you're kind of close.
Right.
And I'm from I'm from a culture where, we're very social, and even that personal space is much smaller than. So,
absolutely.
Yes, I don't know if I can get back to that previous normal. Yeah, I don't think the world would get back to that anytime soon. But
So with that being said, Nabaala, I don't want to keep, like I said, I don't want to keep you ladies, but does that give it like a false sense of security, this vaccine? Not that it's not for a health reason, but does it give a
not that it gives a false sense, but I think it's trying to see what works, and if the vaccine, as it is right now, as they say that, hey, it's going to decrease your risk, like, why not? And hopefully with over time, I think things can only improve. When even looking at medicine in general, things are improving. It's not getting worse. Sometimes you might have a little halt, a little stumbling block, but in general, it's improving. So, to say, I definitely wouldn't say that the vaccine is a false sense of hope. It's kind of looking forward to what is to come. So,
And remember, vaccines only work if people get them. We eradicated
Exactly.
polio and other
Yes.
diseases until you had these people that sit on Facebook on the toilet that became anti-vaxxers with no scientific data to back them up. And now you have a bunch of rampant diseases that were eradicated for many years.
Yeah,
Coming back now.
measles and
Yeah.
yes, absolutely. So
So,
when you think about that, it's so important to get those vaccines.
exactly.
Awesome. So y'all all agree with that. Thank
Yes.
you. Yeah.
Yeah, I think rather than false sense of security, it's a symbol of hope. It's giving us hope that we can start moving back towards whatever our new normal is going to be. Because I can't wait to take this mask off. Personally, I feel like I think I mentioned it earlier, but inhaling the fibers from the mask that I wear constantly for 12 hours, is troubling. So I want to take this mask off.
Yeah.
Danny, it's so funny that you said that because, I was joined the gym and trying to work out with the mask. Boy, I was like, I don't know if I was because I got fat from this COVID, or I just couldn't breathe from the mask. I was
Probably a combo.
Yes, it was. You're right, though. I know. I felt it.
We got some COVID pounds now. Listen.
Yeah. And I told people, I was like, I'm trying to be fine again. I said, Malika and I, well, I'll speak for myself. My wife still looks great.
You're fine.
You know what I'm saying? I'm still holding it down, but I'm just saying. I remember what I was before COVID. Now I'm COVIDing. You know what I'm saying, around the waist, but it's all right. Thank God for sweats, right?
Right.
Oh my goodness. Yes. So hence the new piece of equipment in the house. Finally broke down and got that Peloton.
Yeah, exactly.
We need something over here. Yeah.
And look, speaking of which, that's the other thing I wanted to say. We need to be exercising, right? And then getting some of those vitamins from our food, making sure we are increasing the amount of vegetables that we're eating,
Absolutely.
so we can get those things naturally as well as taking supplements from them.
So true. So true. Woo! I love it. Ladies and gentlemen, Frank, who signed off already, I cannot thank you enough. It was like, oh, we need to do a show on the vaccine. And you were all on board. And I love and appreciate you for that. I truly do. I love you anyway, but I truly love you just saying, yeah, I want to come in and share my experiences. From the look of all the comments and hearts and thank yous, both on Facebook and YouTube, everybody learned something today. Everybody loved you. Another comment just came in. This is from Nita's sister, Nicole. Thank you again for the discussion. I was absolutely getting this vaccine right away and she wanted to see what it's all about. And now she's all in for it. So she said
That's
she really
great.
appreciates you all. Everybody's saying the same thing. Thank you. Please continue to stay safe. Keep shining bright. We're going to help spread the word for everybody. And that's it. I love
Thumbs
it.
up. You too.
All right. Thanks for having us.
Yes,
Stop playing. We're going to go out on a song that I think typifies how we all feel about all of you. And, from BB Wines.
We got a jam over here
we gotta go.
just for a couple more seconds.
Listen,
Well,
we're going to take it up. We're going to pump it up. As my
Courtney said, you got the vaccine, get the vaccine.
Courtney got it. He got the vaccine.
Oh, he got it? I know you're going to try to get me to do it. Thank you. We appreciate you all. Here we go, y'all.
Take it down.
Hey.
Woo, I love this one.
Yeah.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you.
Good night.
Thanks. See you later.
Facebook.